It is so wonderful to be here. Thank you. Thank you to the Rotary Club for inviting me, and thank everyone for coming out this night. So I'm going to talk a little bit and play a little bit about my experience with the Rotary Music Festival. I'm going to start off with this piece I'm sure you'll find familiar. So, that's the first piece that I ever played in public. I'm at Takini Elementary School quite a while ago, and the school principal asked before every assembly if I would play the piano. And it was kind of a big deal and not a big deal. It showed me how important music is in this community. It showed the student body that music belongs in the school system. It belongs everywhere. And it gave me a tremendous sense of pride of just being able to sit down before any time the school got together and to play. My students in New Jersey are particularly fascinated with this picture because no one is wearing shoes. It's the first thing they point out, and they are very confused by that. So I have to explain what it's like here in Canada. Because my mother was a little bit of a hoarder, she saved everything that I did from the Rotary Music Festival at a young age. This is about one of the 100 certificates that I have, and this is the first one I could find from 1977. And I remember playing a piece called Monkeys in a Tree, which also is wonderful because it's by a Canadian composer, and that's another thing the Rotary Music Festival, it makes sure that our Canadian composers get heard. So I remember practicing at home. And then when it came time to perform it, I went. But I had a great time and I was hooked, and I didn't miss a festival after that for the rest of my time here in Whitehorse. Here's a program from 1977. My mom highlighted that I was third. If you look down to number 10, that's Connie Clausen, who you'll also hear performing this evening. And one of the best parts of it was the inspiration that I got from watching the older kids, from watching May Jane perform and listening to their repertoire and just feeling really inspired and motivated by what the kids older than me did. And I loved everything about it. Here are some more pictures. And another thing that became clear to me was, as we were performing, how fun it was to work with ensembles and duets and different kinds of music. I joined the band, I started playing all the different instruments, and I know that Mrs. Clausen would have us get together in her basement, and we'd play for each other, and she'd put us with 4 hands and 2 hands, and I had never heard the Beethoven symphonies before. There was no YouTube. We didn't have CD players. There was not a lot of access to music. And I remember she got the book. It was a piano reduction for 4 hands of the Beethoven symphonies, and she paired me with this older boy, and we played through them, and that was the first time I'd heard the Beethoven symphonies because of one of those Friday nights in her basement. So music became very collaborative as well, and I loved it. In 1983, I gotta make sure I'm on the right thing here. 1983, I received a scholarship, and that was also so exciting for me. I fell in love with Kulau. And what to buy with that scholarship was the big question. I ended up going to the music store that I just saw downtown today, and I purchased this, a metronome. And I've kept it with me all these years, and it still works. Slow. But it's a beautiful memory and reminder of what the Rotary Club and how supportive they were of me growing up. It's banged up a little from throwing it across the room in a few practice sessions, but it works very well. Then in 1984, Rotary Club awarded me the CBC Award. They flew me to Vancouver, put me up in a fancy hotel, took me out to dinner where I tried escargot for the first time, and then sent me to the Orpheum Theater to see my first symphony. They felt that it was important for me to see what a real symphony was. It was a little hard to get access to these things growing up here, and that was life-changing for me. And not only seeing a real symphony orchestra in person, but also the confidence that this community instilled in me. With all the support and encouragement they gave me, they really made me feel like that I should dream big and I could achieve those dreams. So again, it was a wonderful experience for me. So then, what happened? I was trying to figure out what to do with my future, and the Twin Cinemas called the UConn music teachers and said, there's a movie coming in about the life story of Mozart. And so instead of showing coming attractions, they were going to put a piano in the movie theater, and they wanted somebody to play Mozart before every movie. And so the music teachers asked me to do it. So for 2.5 weeks, I went there, once at 7, once at 9:15, and I played Mozart before every showing of this movie. So, having seen it like 30, 40, 50 times, I memorized the whole movie. And it was all set in Vienna, Austria. And I started to think, Beethoven, Schubert, Mozart, everybody good was from Austria, maybe I should go there. So I went to my guidance counselor at F.H. Collins, and he said, I know someone over there. And I wrote them a letter and said I want to come over. And they said, let's do it. So I headed off to the Vienna Conservatory of Music, and I studied there for a year. In my mind, that's what I would be doing. In reality, that's where I was for 12 hours a day. I was in a gray building, masterclass after masterclass in German, soaking it all in, listening to some of the best musicians in the whole entire world. And it was there that I did my college search. And the kids that did speak English told me about this place in New Jersey, Westminster Choir College, and how it was fantastic and I would love it. So I called the 1-800 number, talked to them on the phone, and they said, if you come here, you'll get to sing and perform with Leonard Bernstein. That was all I needed to hear. The conductor of the New York Philharmonic, who wrote West Side Story, a man that I admired so much. So I came home and I said to my mom, I'm going to New Jersey. The slight problem was that Canada is extremely generous in supporting higher education, and the UConn is particularly generous in helping its students get a college education. And this school was $25,000, and we hadn't saved up really much for college, so how was I going to pay for it? Like any good UConner, I got a job at the Frantic Follies. Woo! That's me in the top right corner, where I played the piano and I kicked up my heels and I played a lot of ragtime. I had a great time at the Follies. I did that for 7 summers, and I could usually say, well, if I worked there and Morton & Helwig Insurance Adjusters, may I help you? And I did that every day typing, and then I taught piano on the weekends and cleaned the office, and I could save around $20,000, $18,000 a summer. I was still a little bit short once again. Rotary Club, UConn Arts Council, music teachers came to my rescue, and I could get enough scholarship to go study off in New Jersey. So off I went. And I did sing with Leonard Bernstein. I did sing at Carnegie Hall. I did sing with Pavarotti. And I had the most amazing musical experiences. My sophomore year, when I was there, my first year, they had a piano competition on the first day of school. And I arrived and I decided not to compete because I was intimidated and I thought it could be a little embarrassing, and I don't know, the Americans were so overwhelming to me, so I decided not to compete. But then when I met the teachers and the students, they said, just try, just get up there and do it, and everyone was very supportive. So I thought, okay, I'll play my overdone Haydn Sonata, and I may as well. So I played my Haydn Sonata, and it went fine. I was okay, but I was first, and I went and sat down. And then the rest of the students went up to compete, and they were all playing songs that I had done in middle school. And I knew every one of their songs, and soon it started to dawn on me. We started classes, and I knew more music theory, more music history, I had more repertoire, I had more competition experience, I could sight read better than anybody, and everybody started asking me where I came from, and I was shocked, as was everybody else, that this girl who was wearing a sealskin parka when she got off the plane in September and it was 100 degrees, what was I doing? And but I was far, far ahead of my peers, and that really all came from this community, from the training that I got here. And it was, from then on, I had a terrific experience there, and it was very exciting. My sophomore year, my second year, Henry Clausen called up and said, we're building a new performing arts center in the Yukon, and we need a piano. Would you consider going to the Steinway factory in New York City and helping us get a piano? You can't get in there without a security guard into the Steinway factory on 57th in Manhattan. I said, of course I would. And I asked the head of the music department to come with me, and she said, okay. So my piano teacher and I went to New York on a Saturday, and there were 20 pianos waiting for us in the Grand Ballroom. Oh! There were 20 pianos waiting for us, and we each played all 20 of them, and we wrote down our favorite two, and there was one that we both loved, and that was it. And that is this piano that I'm playing on today. So, it is great to be reunited with this beautiful instrument, and I'm so happy that I could make some kind of contribution in any way to say thank you to this community that did so much for me. So after college, what to do? I really did think I would come back here and teach or something, but I went on a job interview, and at the time, growing up, my favorite TV show in the world was Fame, and it was about a performing arts high school, but I really thought it was fiction. I didn't know that they existed, but they do, and I got hired at one. And so now this is what I do. I sing and teach, and I have a show a week from now until June, and it's just performing arts nonstop. So I don't really do a lot of solo piano anymore. I do a lot of accompanying. I play show tunes all day. And once in a while, I just throw that in. So I have a wonderful job right now. One thing that is different from my American students and the Canadian students is that my American students don't really travel at all. None of them have been in an airplane or gone to many places, so I had to rectify that. So I do a lot of traveling with my music students. We just got back from France, but we have also been to Scotland and to Spain and to Ireland and to England, and we're headed out to Greece next year. And my choir is 250, continues to grow. We're one of the largest programs in the state, and because of that, we're getting a lot of exciting opportunities. We got invited, well, one of my dreams in my life was to have a student be on Broadway. Just to get one student on Broadway would be amazing. And the first time it happened, one of my girls was Mary Poppins in Mary Poppins on Broadway. And then it just kept happening, and it keeps happening. Miss Saigon just closed, and the girl who played Kim was a 12th grader at my school, and it's so exciting. I have students at the Met. I had a student who was Miss New Jersey, and I went to Miss America with her. All these really incredible experiences. And then we got invited to sing at Carnegie Hall, my choir did. So this is us a couple months ago. We sang with Al Gore and Robert Redford, and that was very, very exciting. None of the students knew who Robert Redford or Al Gore was, but I was excited. So over the years, I've done 10 concerts there with a lot of really great people. Obviously, the most exciting Canadian legends, Sarah McLachlan and Lorena McKenna. That was really special for me. But we've had some really terrific opportunities there. So then, what is next? I thought I may have peaked, but then my daughter, who's in the audience today, wrote a letter to President Barack Obama a couple years ago and said she admired him and would love to meet him. So he wrote back, his secretary called us a couple weeks later and said, yeah, how's September 6th? So we said, that's good. So off we went to the White House. So we spent about 8 hours at the White House, playing with the dogs and going in the kitchen and testing cookies, and they treated us like royalty, and so we ended up in the Oval Office. I feel like I should explain my son. He's lying on the couch clutching his heart. When Obama said, how you doing? He said, I think I'm having a heart attack, and fell over. And Pete Souza, the White House photographer, captured that and sent it to me. We were all having a heart attack at the time, pretty much. We were so nervous. But at the end of this conversation, Obama looked over and he said, Regina, I've heard about your choir. Would you be able to do me a favor and perform at our holiday party in December? And I said, I can find the time for that. That would be fine. But what does one sing? What do you sing for the President of the United States? I had to come up with something good. So I knew he was leaving for Hawaii right after the party. So I called up the Hawaiian Tourism Board and I recorded them on the phone saying, we wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year in Hawaiian. Mele kalikimaka e o auauli hakiliki o. And I set it to music and I redid this entire Hawaiian song for him and for Michelle. And they were overjoyed, and she said that Barack brought my daughter's letter to dinner, and they all read it together with Sasha Malia, and it was very exciting. So yeah, this is me and the group performing for the Obamas in the diplomatic room, and it was really an amazing experience. So what's next? When I look around and I see my former teachers here, I see the Clausens, I realize that music is not something you retire from. It's a lifelong pursuit, and I fully intend on doing that. I've had such incredible role models growing up, and it will be something that I know I'll keep going with. So I don't know what is in store for me, but I do know none of these dreams that I dreamed of when I was a child here would have ever come true without the support of the Rotary Music Festival and of the community of Whitehorse that supported me. And not just me, thousands, literally thousands of kids who've gone through this program, whether they've done music or not with their future. What an incredible legacy this music festival is, and I'm so proud to be a part of it. Thank you very much.